我学点佛法。
Black Myth: Wukong is definitely a game that attracts many curious looks. In addition to the beautiful graphics, it also has many characteristics of a good Souls-like. For example, a very varied cast of enemies. Developed by the Chinese studio Game Science Interactive, the game will feature the Monkey King as the protagonist, a legend of Asian culture, and promises to take players on an epic adventure based on Journey to the West, one of the 4 great classic novels of Chinese literature. Set in the lush forests of China, the level of detail and realism is one of the highlights of the game, comparable to or even superior to many others in the current market. The enemies, with their detailed clothing and attack animations, along with the realistic environments that authentically react to the character's movements, highlight the power of Unreal Engine 5.
Redline as your combat AI.
Those who watched the movie John Wick 4 know how the protagonist had to fend for himself against a crowd of opponents. Apparently, Spine brings this one-against-all approach in a proposal full of action. Telling a science fiction story in the near future, the game puts us in control of Redline, who has incredible reflexes thanks to a technological enhancement. Created by Neki, the project started as a multiplayer action game, but later turned into a solo title focused on narrative. The game is cinematic brawling with coordinated combat. Spine will have you taking down henchmen with the help of a talking spine. Join them as they challenge the autocratic AI regime of the Tensor Corporation and learn to trust each other. Doom: The Dark Ages promises a bold new approach to the legacy of the classic shooter game, considered the father of FPSs. Revealed as part of the Xbox Games Showcase 2024, in a short but noisy trailer, the game features dragon rides, mechanical battles, and a much darker and metal visual palette. However, these dark ideas are not the only new elements, nor are they the most significant, for in the left hand of the Doomslayer is a shield to protect him from demons, and in his right hand is a flail, the melee weapon of the Middle Ages. Yes, the new Doom will have melee combat. In the precinct, players take on the role of Nick Cordell Jr., a rookie cop who wants to maintain order in the fictional city of Averno, which is procedurally generated in 1983. While working to protect the city, Nick also wants to solve the mystery of his father's murder, a cop who died on duty. The precinct is a love letter to classic cop films, combining detailed police simulation with sandbox action. Patrol the streets, respond to calls, face both petty and powerful criminals. Choose your own tactics in thrilling pursuits and shootouts. Feel the shift in power dynamics between Averno's gangs in a lively city, full of procedurally generated crimes, from traffic violations to bank robberies, street races, and drug trafficking.
Suspect is in handcuffs.
And you do not, under any circumstances.
The distributor Behavior Interactive and the studio Supermassive Games have just announced that the single-player horror game, The Casting of Frank Stone, will be released on September 3rd for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. The Casting of Frank Stone takes place in the 1980s and puts players in Cedar Hills, a town forever changed by Frank Stone's violent past. The perfect setting for a group of young people to decide to shoot their own horror film in an abandoned steel mill until something goes terribly wrong. Every decision made changes the course of the story and has a direct impact on the fate of each character in the group. The game, set in the same universe as Dead by Daylight, Industria 2 is a narrative FPS that unfolds in an alternate dimension dominated by a malevolent artificial intelligence. The game's protagonist, Nora, is lost in a dangerous and unknown world. Navigating this hostile terrain, she must face dangerous robots, unravel the mystery of the sinister AI, and find her way back home in East Berlin in 1989. The game will feature immersive gameplay, bringing physics-based interactions, along with crafting tools and a unique inventory. Weapons can be upgraded, implementing accessories like silencers, extended magazines, or special attacks. The game will be a narrative FPS with memorable characters and a touching story, showcasing industrial decay in a vast boreal landscape combined with mechanical structures from another world. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chernobyl is an open-world first-person shooter game developed by GSC Game World. It is set in a post-apocalyptic environment in the Chernobyl region of Ukraine. The game promises an immersive experience with improved graphics and engaging storytelling. Players can expect to explore a highly dangerous zone, face mutant creatures, and interact with other survivors. The game is not just a sequel, but a huge leap in terms of scale and advanced graphics. Set in the Zone, an exclusion area around the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, the game challenges players to explore territories full of radiation, mutants, and anomalies, offering freedom of choice that directly impacts the development of the plot and interaction with the hostile environment. Following the resounding success of Black Desert Online, Pearl Abyss is working hard on its spiritual successor in the form of Crimson Desert. Set in a fantastic world inhabited by all kinds of creatures and enemies, Crimson Desert promises to be an expansive experience, consistently impressing fans with its pre-launch trailers. The game takes place in an expansive open world, and players have various options to move from one point to another. For example, you can ride a reliable steed and explore the reaches of the realm of Pywell while trying to unite the various factions under one cause. Additionally, your equine companion can also collide with enemies and help you gain an advantage over static opponents in combat. But if you don't have your horse by your side at any time, you can always borrow a horse-drawn carriage to quickly reach your destination.
Congratulations tonight!
6 years ago, Warhorse Studios captured the hearts of many medieval RPG fans with the release of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now, the studio has announced Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a sequel to the 2018 game. With a world twice the size of the original game, the sequel translates a sense of accomplishment for the developers, who now have more resources to bring all their ideas to life. Kingdom Come Deliverance the Sadu is an action RPG set in the ancient region of Bohemia, which currently corresponds to the Czech Republic. In it, the player takes on the role of Henry of Skalitz, a young man embarking on a journey of revenge. In terms of gameplay, the developers promise an even more interesting crime system for the new game. It is worth noting that Henry's actions have direct consequences in the game. In this sense, reckless attitudes, like walking around naked, can affect NPC's opinion of the protagonist. Marvel and Skydance New Media, a studio founded by Amy Hennig, former director and writer of the Uncharted franchise, have announced Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra. The project is described as an action-adventure game with a focus on narrative and is set to be released in 2025. The game is set during World War II and puts players in control of 4 characters throughout its original story. Steve Rogers, known as Captain America, Azuri, who is T'Challa's grandfather and the Black Panther of that period, Gabriel Jones, a soldier in the American Army, and Nanali, a Wakandan spy in Paris, which is occupied by Nazis. The game stands out especially for its graphics, which demonstrate a very high visual fidelity with the new technologies of Unreal Engine 5. However, it is still unclear how its gameplay mechanics will be. The studio guarantees that more information will be released in the future. Push On, a Cyprus-based studio with over 40 veteran developers who have worked on AA and indie games, has announced S.T.A.L.K.E.R, a first-person medieval action-adventure RPG with simulation elements coming to consoles and PC via Steam. The developers themselves consider S.T.A.L.K.E.R as a kind of spiritual successor to the classic Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, but claim that the new title was also influenced by Dishonored and Kingdom Come Deliverance. The game is set in the realm of Catanor, where you take on the role of the youngest son of a lord. In this story, you are not a hero or anything like that, but you must prove your worth when terrible goblins appear on the county's border. This was the list. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.